Hello students, welcome to AriserTalent. I am your mentor Arpita Sharma. Students, we are just summarizing, in today's lecture we are summarizing our coordinate geometry chapter. Okay, so starting the writing, the name of the chapter, coordinate geometry. So we are going to have a quick revision of this chapter, coordinate geometry. Okay, so we first studied about the axis. This was our x-axis and this was our y-axis. Here O, here we were having this x dash axis. Okay, x o x dash. This was x-axis. Okay, so this was x-axis. This one. Now, if we talk about this one, this was our y-axis and we named it like y o y dash. Okay. Now, if you talk about this O, that will be having coordinates 0, 0 and that will be our origin. Okay. So, basically these two axes divide this plane into 4 parts and we also named them like first, second, third and fourth quadrants. What? Quadrants. Okay. Then we also talked about the abscissa and ordinate. Abscissa and ordinate. So, how they will be defining if I am having this point 1 and this point 2 and these point 1, 2, 3. Similarly, in this direction we were having minus like minus 1, minus 2, minus 3. This was our negative part of axis and this is also. So, that will be minus 1, minus 2, minus 3. I have told you if I am having some point here, like some point here, how I am going to define it. This is that point. So, how am I going to define that particular point in the format of abscissa? The value of x, for this point will be 2. So, 2 is the abscissa, and the ordinate will be simply 3, the value of the y axis. So, 2, 3, this 2 will be the abscissa and 3 will be the ordinate. Okay. So, this is how we are going to specify a particular point in coordinate geometry, and this is the Cartesian system in which we are defining this point. This is a Cartesian system of defining a point. Okay, done with that. So, in the first lecture of ours we understood about these particular things. Okay, note them. Okay. After that, we talked about equation of x-axis and equation of y-axis. Okay, so equation of x-axis and y-axis, as this figure told us, x o x dash, y o y dash. Okay. So, if we talk about this x dash, the value of y here is 0, the value of y here is 0, at this point 0, at this point 0, at this point 0, at this point 0. That means at each and every point of point on x axis we are having y equals to 0. So, for x axis the equation will be y equals to 0. Similarly, for equation of y axis that will be x equals to 0, because at each and every point on y we will be having x equals to 0. So, simply the equation of x axis is y equals to 0 and equation of y axis is x equals to 0. Okay. Then we did two things. We were having these two things, either we are having given points and we have to plot them in Cartesian system. Okay, and the second category, we were given Cartesian system. Okay, some points given, points in Cartesian system, and we have to find the abscissa and the ordinate of it. Okay, so these were the two things we talked about. Talking about the first one, if we are having given points like 2, 3, if you are having 2, 3, we simply drawing these Cartesian coordinates. So, Cartesian coordinates x, O, x dash, y, O, y dash, we will simply plot 1, 2, 3 here, similarly minus 1, minus 2, minus 3 here, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3 here, 1, 2 and 3 here, and the given point is 2, 3. So, you will just simply be counting 2 on the x axis and 3 on the y axis, and the point will be here. So, that will be 2, 3, and you can name it like P. Okay. So, that was the first thing we have done. The second thing, like if you are having some point given here, let us suppose here you are having some point and you have given a point here. Now, you have to write it in the form of abscissa and ordinate like in Cartesian coordinate. So, if this point is P and this point is Q, how will you write Q? Simply, and P also. So, x equals to what? 3 here. So, 3, y equals to 0 here. So, 0. Okay. Similarly, for this point we are having x equals to 1 and y equals to 2. So, 1, 2 is Q and 3, 0 is P. Okay. Then again we were having some parallel lines parallel to x axis, and we were having lines parallel to y axis. So, if we are going to talk about the line parallel to x axis, what we will talk about? Line parallel to x axis is this line. If you talk about this, what is the value here of y? Y equals to 2, right? Now, the value of x at that point is minus 2, at that point minus 1, at that point 0, at that point 1, at that point 2, at that point 3. I am talking about the line parallel to x axis only, but I am having always the y, always the value of y equals to 2. So, y equals to 2 is here the equation here, because for every value, each and every value of y equals to 2, I am having this line only. Okay. So, this is y equals to some constant. Similarly, if you talk about lines parallel to y axis, I have told you that that will be x equals to some constant. Like you can say that x equals to minus 1, x equals to minus 3. So, if I talk about x equals to minus 3, now x equals to minus 3 will be this line, and that will be parallel to y axis. Okay, understood that? Okay. Okay students, so this was the complete summary of the theory part of your chapter coordinate geometry. Now what you have to do, you have just revised the concept in this short lecture. So now you have to do this thing, that you have to do questions from your AriserTalent sheet, and we will meet in next lecture with some new good chapters. Okay, bye bye, take care.